Absolutely. Well, we're going to move on to the picks and bans for this match.
Great.
And to start us off, we got ourselves some bans on Veranda and Library. From Rooks banned Veranda, and SykoSloth followed up with a ban from Library.
All right.
So no big maps today, unfortunately. Rooks picked Gallery, his first doubled map. SykoSloth picked Terrace. And then to finish it off, we've got Ballroom and Aquarium. So
we don't have a lot of information on either player, obviously, for the reasons I just mentioned. But one of the few trends that has already emerged in just a handful of matches for SykoSloth is Terrace. They have picked Terrace a whole bunch of times, the most of any venue. And their win rate so far has been awfully strong on it. So apparently there's something about Terrace they like, and hopefully we'll get to see what it is.
Absolutely. All right, well, we're going to hop into game right here. We've got Rooks as Smallman. What an appropriate way to start your SCL career on Gallery. Very appropriate start. All right, you guys ready?
Yeah, let's get this thing underway in 3, 2, 1, playing it. Tucking in behind Toby, look at this.
Right away. Starting things off with a bang.
This is not usually the spot you want to be sitting as Smallman because people can actually tell you're there.
Oh yeah, no, the huge disadvantage of Smallman is anytime they see you, really. But thankfully that doesn't happen too often.
This is true. SykoSloth spending a lot of time zoomed in. And zoomed in at a side of the map rather than down the middle.
Yeah, although if anything, I would say they're spending less time zoomed in than your average sniper on Gallery these days. Some of them will spend well nigh the entire game zoomed in, as we've seen on earlier casts.
Yeah, well, as soon as I said it.
That's true. Sometimes it seems like they're reacting to things we say just to make us look silly, doesn't it?
Either way, Rooks opens things up with a pair of inspects at the statues after picking up the blue microfilm in the back there, and is now heading into the back of this conversation. Went for a weird little reverse drive-by bug that didn't take, and didn't have as much cover as he might have liked, but still came off unscathed. And now he has infinite cover.
Now he has infinite cover. Now he might as well not be at the party at all. By the way, because of the statue he was at and the fact that there were a number of other statue visitors in front of them, notice did not pick up the inspect highlights while all the other statue visitors, I believe, did.
First Flirt comes on for 34%, also hits a purloin from the back conversation and is stepping away. It looked like he tried to get a bug there, but had drink in hand, so wasn't able to do it. Now the highlight comes off on Rooks. We don't know how big that is, though.
That highlight comes off, and that's a lot worse than the statue highlight they missed earlier. I think they might have planned this game differently if they'd had any idea they weren't highlight for statues, by the way. That fade was on screen, too, but the question is, where were SykoSloth's eyes? A sentence I never thought I'd say.
Not a great position for the second Flirt. White test only brings it up to 52%. We're going to need to get real close and hit the green test if we're going to get it in 3. And if we don't get in 3, we could be in a bit of a bad situation because Flirt is not that easy on this map.
No, it's not. Lowlight's taken out front, by the way. We've talked about this in previous casts as well. The proximity on Purloin, on Gallery sometimes, you might not know who could have done it, but you feel pretty confident, for example, that sometimes several people out front couldn't have.
Well, Rook's heading out front for a possible time ad here as time ticks down to a minute. Only one mission completion. No time ad coming off. 52% on the Flirt, 2 statue inspects. Blue microfilm in pocket. So
and
we have... Go ahead.
SykoSloth was spending a lot of time zoomed in while Rooks was outside, which suggests that they are not actually necessarily a massive suspect for that Purloin.
That's great to hear, especially as the second statue visit comes off. The inspects are done. That's our second completion. If we can hit this green Flirt at the bookcase here, this could be huge. We do hit the green! We do finish the Flirt! Can he get away with the transfer?
You have so much cover at the green shelf. The blue was the hard one, but he's not where his ST is. The ST has better cover, and SykoSloth is staring at this. And Rooks has to see that laser is not moving.
Seconds! It's gonna be overtime now. Time starting to tick. 5 seconds. Toby covers. There's the transfer. It's a green. There's no head turn, but the book. Can it get back in time? It can indeed. The bad shot comes off, and with microseconds off the clock, Rook gets it done in game number 1.
That's why I mentioned Queen being at statues, because if overtime triggers at that point, she's the obvious shot. If he doesn't see it, you can tell Rooks wanted to do that microfilm, but he didn't have as much cover because his seduction target was standing in the place that would have given him more cover. So he knows he's vulnerable, and that laser was just not moving. And I don't care what you think about laser latency. At that point, you know you're being watched, and he holds it so long and does it just at the last second. As SykoSloth looks away, the timing is perfect.
Ended on
oh my god, what a way to start a match.
Yeah, 0.1 seconds there on that microfilm. If he was any later, that was a loss.
Tremendous. Absolutely tremendous. That is so, so close. And if it was any earlier, it's probably also a loss because he was being stared down. 1-0.
Yeah, 1-0. What a way to start a match. Let's see if SykoSloth can give us a show of his own. In 3, 2, 1, playing it.
It's moments like these I wish that timeline had even more fractions of a second on it, because I really want to know how much under 0.1 that was.
It was frames.
Yeah, we're talking frames, we're talking pixels, we're talking the smallest units possible, and that's pretty small because, as we've mentioned before, on the aiming, for example, triangle perfect. So there's a lot of specificity in this game.
SykoSloth opening up the game at the front statues, picking up a highlight for his troubles. One of 2 highlights, not including the ambassador. With plenty of time for that number to climb.
Tons of early statue visitors, and both players going to statues early, apparently not subscribing to that theory that you don't want to pick up the statue inspect until you've done the hardtail. We had Smallman do half the microfilm beforehand, but otherwise got most things done after that statue visit, and now SykoSloth is leading off with inspects right into a bug.
Oh, that bug was so bold! The timing was terrible because that was all that happened just as Rook zoomed out, but apparently the eyes were elsewhere.
Didn't even look that visible. It was just so weird because they stood in front of the Amba. It actually looked pretty AI-like if you didn't see the actual bug movement.
Immediately leaving afterwards, though, there's the inspect getting finished up. That's 2 mission completions already, and we're stepping in for the contact here now as well. Unfortunately, the suspected double agent is not around the front conversation, so we're probably not going to be able to get that bonus.
Banana bread.
Contact comes off. Here come the lowlights.
It's only a few possible lowlights, but that's not what hurts. What hurts is what you referenced. With the SDA being out, means only, I think, 6 people could have done a real banana bread.
But look at the situation here. 3 minutes done, 1:45 to play. Unfortunately, we're not in 3 flirt range, so we're going to have to hit a green test if we want to get this done on 1 more flirt, but this is a great position for SykoSloth.
Yeah, even with only a handful of people having been able to do the real banana bread, you're still in a great situation here. Rooks can shoot you, but it'll have to be a very uncertain shot, I think, if they didn't actually see that bug.
Well, Smallman on the move. Going to land at the green bookcase, a very flirtable position. Still 1:10 to play.
Yeah, and you gotta go now. It's not gonna stay flirtable for long. They could take that book out at any point.
There's another person there now. We might not be able to get this done. Keep in mind, the first flirt we got, Rooks did not see because it was out at the front windows and Rooks was zoomed in for it.
Time to chase.
Time to chase. 45 seconds. If we don't hit this green, it could be trouble.
We do see a lot of aggressive flirts out front sometimes.
Oh, never mind. He just dies because he's Smallman.
Yeah, we'll never find out. I was going to say there are some aggressive flirt opportunities out there out front. Sometimes you flirt, go to a window, come right back, and it's not too bad. But, well, that's got to be a relief for SykoSloth, and probably not too much of a gift, though, the way some Civ shots are where you have no chance of winning. In this case, they were in a pretty good position already.
Yeah, especially if they were able to hit the green. If not, they'd have to do some little trip to the windows and back again and hope that was enough to make it happen, but doesn't really matter now. It's 1-1. Rooks back on the spy side. See if he can make some more magic happen in 3, 2, 1, playing it.
Yeah, 2 spy wins on Gallery.
Pretty convincing spy wins as well. Rooks has got a lot closer than you would expect, but he still had that game in the palm of his hand.
Yeah, probably very frustrating if and when he looked at that replay too, to see how very close it was.
Oh no, that's an early contact, and not only does that give off a good number of lowlights, but again, no suspected double agent in the front conversation. Purloin, though, trying to use the cover for that, zooming in, trying to get a look at the tray, I think saw that the list was missing. Now we get lots of lowlights coming out, including Smallman. Rooks is now suddenly in a very bad situation. Tries to get a bug off camera, but doesn't take.
Just walking the Amba outside as if to their car or something. Got about 5 lowlights from the Banana Bread and then 6 more from the Purloin. So is this a good trade is the question, because the party is now narrowed down to, let me see here, 7 people with 2 missions done. I don't know who's in the lead, to be honest with you there.
That's a difficult situation. One of those missions is a Purloin, so the hardtail is out of the way. But with only 7 partygoers left, that's a hard ask. 48% on the first flirt after hitting that green test.
I can really see that coming back to bite them. They're still in a really good position. I think Rooks is ahead here, but by how much?
It's hard to say. We usually don't see games like this. There's the bug coming off on the bounce. Was it seen? It doesn't look like it was.
Yeah, so Duke...
Now you have to say Rooks is in the lead.
Absolutely, and Duke was sort of helping there because with that arm that stuck out was mostly behind the low-lit Duke doing a briefcase return. I think that's just a little fortunate there, but Rooks clearly has wanted to bug for a while and got a better chance there. Takes the innocent drink after the Purloin. Who would do that? Of course, being the idea. And now they can flirt for the win. There's about 90 seconds left, though, and they need 2 of them, remember, because they missed that distance last time.
Indeed, indeed. Wasn't really able to get close enough in the last conversation. This time we won't make that mistake again. Flirt comes off 82%.
And this is quick enough that you can timer flirt. But Gallery is long and treacherous. If Smallman leaves at the wrong time, things could be in trouble in a hurry, and you can't just call Toby over as a failsafe the way you would be able to in other games.
Timer flirt right now is both an attempted safe play and a huge gamble.
I don't know.
Entered this conversation at pretty much the same time we did. It hasn't been that long he was here before the first flirt, so chances are he'll hang around.
I think Queen's a gambling woman, and I think it's going to pay off.
It's looking like it so far. There's the flirtation cooldown. Expired. 35 seconds to play as the last flirt comes off. I do not see SykoSloth taking a shot here.
Yep.
Well, he proved wrong. It just wasn't the shot he needed, and the spies continue to roll. It's 2-1 for Rooks.
The game sense is right there. What's really interesting is that after they narrowed it down to those 7 people, look at that bottom bar. They all stayed there. They didn't get to narrow it down any more after that. So it looked brutal at that point in the game with a couple of minutes left to have it down to just 7 people, even with the 2 missions done. No inspects were done, no fingerprint, no flirt, which that's the big one, frankly. But it all works out in the end, and the party stays exactly at 7. You can see Queen kind of turns, and if you're not looking for that arm specifically, you get a bit of an assist, I think, from Hare, and the fact that she turns her body towards the sniper helps obscure that arm swing on the bug.
It was not a bad bug by any means. It wasn't great, but it was far from bad. Rooks now up by 1 and on the sniper side. SykoSloth spying to keep it even in 3, 2, 1, playing it.
Yeah, they may be a rookie, that is, but they're not playing like one. 2 spy wins, 3 spy wins overall. We don't have our first sniper win of the night yet.
SykoSloth opens things up, taking a green book out of bookcase and flirting for 34 in the back conversation. Quick start.
Yeah, and you can decide, see how the flirt goes, see where everyone settles, and decide, do I want to put this book back? Do I want to dump it? Do I want to clean it, as we've seen so often? Take the book outside to be cleaned? Let the sniper forget where it came from? The book is pretty quick and early. You could get rid of it fast.
Well, it looks like we are getting rid of it fast, but not in the blue bookcase.
No? Well, maybe it helps that the ST is coming all the way back out here. Oh, look at that.
Absolutely. It looks like SykoSloth is not in position to take advantage, though. Decides to step all the way downfield to head outside and possibly try to sneak a bug in under the cover of the zoom. But no, indeed, just goes to here for some reason.
To here with people who I guess would be interesting if we weren't, you know, a spy.
Lots of walking. Green time ad.
Wow. Well, if you're going to do it, this is actually a pretty good time to do it because people don't usually time ad about now.
I mean, no, but here's the thing. Walk outside with not a hugely fast character. A brief stop in the conversation, out to windows, time ad, and then back into briefcase. That doesn't buy you much time.
No, it doesn't. You've already burned off a lot of those 45 seconds already. So you're kind of back where you started. You have a fingerprint now. You have some more options. But you could. This is the second flirt you could have just gotten from the beginning, too, and been in a very similar position, probably.
The fingerprint is very nice indeed, although we probably could have gone straight there and been in a similar position. Not able to get the bug off, which is fine because it was super exposed. Was able to get the flirt off. A green test for 80%.
Yeah, we've seen a lot of maps recently based on the occlusion theme, but this is sort of the original based on occlusion.
Back again!
Wow.
Third flirt. Mission done.
SykoSloth, utterly charming, apparently.
So it would seem.
I mean, I'm a fan of sloths. Sloths are pretty cute. And apparently the seduction target agrees. I think that psycho part's a bit of a red flag, but okay.
Minute and 40 seconds on the clock, one mission completion, and one fingerprint in pocket. Looks like he's staring down the statues, or has been for a bit. It was busy for a while, but now SykoSloth steps in to pick up that first pair of inspects, and presumably the highlight to go with it, although no reaction from Rooks yet.
Well, Rooks was too busy low-lighting people, actually, including a couple of highlights. I think they might just be idling low-lights. People have been in one place for a while, as far as I can tell, unless they phantomed something. But the party's pretty well narrowed down all of a sudden.
Statue to statue, gonna finish the inspects and the fingerprint in one fell swoop. So, spending your attention on lowlights will mean you miss things like that, and SykoSloth now within striking distance, but only 45 seconds to play.
But one mission, it can be the BB, and it could happen right now. This will be that strike.
There's no way you can take a shot on a contact here. There's just not enough information.
Yeah, you have to be on the fingerprint, and you have to be confident about those lowlights. Barely any reaction.
Spies keep the ball rolling. SykoSloth answering back once more. It's 2-2. Still nothing to play for the snipers.
Jeez, 4-0 Spies. And look, it's a pretty solid game. The fingerprints were nice and spaced out. Nothing too obvious, nothing too aggressive. Maybe the statue a little risky, but not too bad for gallery. I think the real thing is Rooks was obviously taking some very good behavioral lowlights there. Idling, I think, again, is my best guess unless I missed something. But the value of that is that when the last 30 to 40 seconds start to tick off that clock, you can hone in on who's left and make that difficult shot if you maybe have to. Even if you're not on the fingerprints. But what it felt like was that they weren't really expecting the game to be over. It felt like they were kind of still taking that big picture view, when the whole point of getting those lowlights is you take the small picture then. You zoom in, you pay more attention to who's left. That's the value.
Newer players, very good mechanics, good decision-making, good play, just not really in the rhythm of things yet, not having those internal alarm bells going off, telling you what you need to be looking at what times. 2-2 for the Spies as Rook steps in to the terrace with no inspect and no fingerprint In 3, 2, 1, playing it.
Another Terrace swap game. Oh boy. And remember, I was saying before, SykoSloth has picked Terrace a bunch and won on it a bunch. And hopefully we're gonna see what they've got up their sleeve here.
Well, not the fastest start, and it's changed my mind. We were just setting up for a bug and execute on the way across. No highlight, no reaction. Not even being kept on camera right now. I think Rooks got away with that completely clean.
I think you might be right. That's a pretty darn good bug, and aggressive but not immediate. A lot of people watch and guard that bug right away during the time of chaos because they know how easy it can be to get away with it. But there's like a nice little lull sometimes afterwards where the sniper wants to kind of settle into their rhythm and get the rhythm of the party too. And sometimes they kind of forget there'll be these little openings where you can bug again.
And now with Rooks having a hardtail under his belt is just going to step in for the usual opening. A quick flirt in conversation.
Yeah, it's entirely possible the rest of this game will be very, very boring. But I don't know yet.
Flirt comes off for 32%. That is still in range for the 3 flirt, but we're going to have to get closer on the next 2.
And I can't tell if SykoSloth is staring at Rooks or if this is just the standard position on Terrace. Seems like the latter to me.
Same. I think Rooks is in a fantastic position right now as he steps away into the windows.
I think what's happening here, this is something that spies will do sometimes. They'll make these flirts at the end of these games after the hardtail. They'll make them harder because now that's the only thing you're worried about is blowing the flirt. Because if you feel you got away with the bug, or even if you think you're maybe a suspect for it, you're thinking, how do I lose this game? I lose this game by getting clumsily flirt paired or something. So they'll actually be too cautious about the flirt, which might be the case here. You see they went to windows, not right to their ST, and they stood a little distance too. So now they're going to need a green on the last one, and if they don't hit it, then what happens? Absolutely. It can be a self-fulfilling prophecy. They're so worried about losing a very winnable game that sometimes that makes it more likely they'll lose it.
You always feel like you're not going to miss 3 green tests in a row. This one doesn't either. Rooks able to hit it on the last attempt, gets the flirt done. The shot comes off, but I doubt it would have mattered as all we needed was a quick contact to close the game out. The spies keep on rolling.
Jeez. Yeah, and by the way, no contact had gone off. So even if you're crediting, Pearls there with, being done with fingerprints, she really only takes one path by the ambassador near the end there, and it really, you can see the arm the whole way. You could see the arm swing and there's no bug, and the other hand has a drink. So I don't know, just a little paranoid about that bug, I guess, but it really wasn't in evidence.
It had to have been a phantom bug because there's no fingerprint. There's no inspect.
Right.
There's 2 soft tells active on that
Right.
map.
So let's say you're giving her the bug. Let's say you're crediting Seduce. She hasn't purloined.
There's been no purloin. There's been no swap.
And there's been no contact. So, I mean, phantom swap or just jumpy. One of the 2.
Yeah.
Oh, well.
Either way, it's a game loss. And SykoSloth is going to have to make up for it on the spy side with no swap and no inspect this time. In 3, 2, 1, playing it.
That's more like it.
Also possible he just forgot fingerprint was off.
That's true. I mean, we do.
You're not wrong.
That's the main reason I like to cast Terrace. That and the fact that nothing will happen for a couple minutes at a time.
Well, manages to shove his way all the way in there into the bar. Picks up 34% on the flirt while he's at it.
If there's one thing that's seductive, it's shoving?
It would seem that way.
Being obnoxiously pushy? I guess. I don't know. I'm not much of a romantic. I don't know.
Ladies and gentlemen, do not turn to Spy Party for dating advice, is the thing we've learned this day. Fingerprint off the briefcase, now heading into statues to lose a bit of heat. This has been a very unusual spy game from SykoSloth so far.
Yeah, and even the statue pickup and put down times are just really tight. SykoSloth is just bouncing around here.
Gets sunshined. in this conversation.
Too pushy.
Too pushy.
See, this is what it gets you.
And now with one fingerprint and one flirt in hand, we are Hylet. This might be our first sniper game of the evening.
Yeah, look at these instant pickup times. This is something you'll see from the newer players
fingerprint
sometimes.
hits the difficult. I think SykoSloth may have just retaken the initiative.
Yeah, that's pretty good. And if you can go get a flirt right now, suddenly you're in a very strong position. This path is a little wonky. And let's try that flirt again. Hey, what kind of boots are those?
Well, looks like she's actually hanging around long enough if he can work up the nerve. There it goes. Green flirt for 85%. Minute and 30 to play. Contact still available. One more flirt needed.
Yeah, here's the position we're in. Either they're all over the fingerprint, even the difficult, which is hard to believe, or they don't realize it was a difficult. Sometimes the sniper misses things in a way that actually hurts you. And they're just waiting for the contact to go off to shoot, or this game is almost in the bag.
That difficult fingerprint could very easily have absolutely swung this entire game in SykoSloth's favor. Not easy to credit the difficults as he steps into conversation with a double agent preparing to hit the contact.
Uh-oh, gonna be the only non-low light though.
Wants a few more people in conversation, bails away from it, knows he can't take that risk right now.
Yep, good call.
Too many people outside of conversation. He's going to go for the flirt first and hope the double agent hangs around. There's the second mission completion. 30 seconds to play.
If the double agent decides to go to one or two other places, they might never get back in again. This game could end way too easily if you don't get over there. But they're moving around so much.
Weird path on the way in. Wasn't able to get around the outside of boots. 15 seconds.
Banana bread.
There's the contact just before overtime hits. The shot comes off. Rooks breaks the streak. It's 4-2.
There were only two non-lowlights in that conversation and only one highlight, and it was SykoSloth. I think they probably could not have been a huge suspect. I don't think the difficult fingerprint was being credited, but I think at that point it's like, who else could it be? They're moving around. They're the only highlight in there. There's only one neutral light in with them. This has got to be the spy.
Yeah, it never became a good moment for the contact. There was never that chance. Might have even been a better idea to go for something like a bug there, although that is a really difficult choice to make mid-game.
Yep, that's just how it goes sometimes. I think there's a chance that Rooks just had really good game sense. It's entirely possible they were not able to credit the fingerprint, but everything else just screamed spy.
And now Rooks has finally found himself a lead, finally broke the streak of spy games, and now he's on the spy side once more as the largest man around. In 3, 2, 1, playing it. Early wrong arm bug on the way through, but turned away a split second too early, and the bug doesn't take. That could have been the game.
Yep, doesn't take but wasn't seen. No progress. By the way, swap is off again, and fingerprint is this time too. That's usually the normal choice. Do I live on fingerprint or inspect? And it's honestly hard to say which AIs are going to complete more often.
Well, opening the game with these inspects now that the bug didn't quite take. No highlight for statues.
Well, normally you can remember them here. You'll see a lot of people, myself included, will highlight for real banana breads instead and try to memorize statue visitors, which is a little easier. And I have a theory, actually, that's specifically because people go to statues gradually, which means you can list them and repeat the list to yourself and add to it over time, whereas the banana bread people, that happens in a burst all at once, which makes it harder to solidify in your memory.
Contact comes off. So does the flirt for 28%. Rooks is moving, but he's finally got that highlight.
Yep, and since we've got that highlight, and we're getting, we're seeing statue highlights, things like that, it's just really going to stick out like a sore thumb when they go a second time.
It is indeed. At the bar now. Picking up a delegate. We'll see what he does with this. I don't expect it to be utilized, but you never know.
Yeah, you never know. You break up the flirt with it. Yep, go over, get another one, and you've got an option if things fall apart, which they so often do.
No reason not to take a bit of distance here when we were too far away off the first one. Also, too far away off the second one brings us only up to 54%, but we're going to need a green anyways. A minute and 20 to play now.
Yep, and I can imagine this being a problem. We've had a couple games tonight where we said the spy's going to have to hit a green or things are going to get really interesting, and they've either not had to or they've hit it so far every time, but one of these days it's not going to work.
There's the delegate.
It's to a low light.
That could be good. That could be very good indeed, because
Absolutely.
it's so easy not to be paying close attention to low lights as they go to the bar.
Oh, just expires.
Oh no!
That's going to miss by a few seconds, I think, but that's pretty darn close. That's pretty darn close.
SDA was in line before us, and that was the difference maker. Stepping into the second statue visit, under 40 seconds now.
That is really close. And if you can get it right at the edge of that timer, yep, there it is. That's what we talked about earlier.
Second statue visit. SykoSloth is able to answer back. That is 2 spies having been shot, and now SykoSloth is back on the spy side himself, looking to try to tie things up at 4 in 3, 2, 1. Playing it.
Doing those delegates at the very end of the timer can be very powerful because you give the sniper a lot of time to forget about it or maybe even assume it's not going to come off. So if you can get it in right under the wire, it's that much better. But that's the flip side sometimes. Maybe someone beats you to bar. If either one person sometimes gets to the bar before the delegator, that can throw it off.
51% on the flirt is nice to see. Picking up a delegate from the bar. We'll see what we do with it.
Now, maybe Smallman just happened to be the seduction target, but remember, when you make Smallman your seduction target, you guarantee that he will be in the party, but not an SDA. Obviously, in this case, just DA. But in general, when Smallman's the seduction target, my first thought is, I wonder if someone made him that way.
Absolutely. Slow moving here after that first flirt at the bar. I don't expect we'll make use of this delegate.
One thing that's really stood out to me so far is the differences in micro with the challenger players. They obviously know a lot about the game already. I'm always stunned to see how good new players are, but their newness. Oh boy!
No, that's so many cops.
I'll hold that thought while we react to this real quick. Good lord! Oh boy! And we end up at statues. We don't do anything?
Whoa! Oh my god!
Do you see what they did? Do you see what they did? They went to statues and then acted like I'm coming away from statues, hoping their eyes are elsewhere. I was at statues the whole time. I must have been because I'm walking away, or rolling away in this case. And it works!
Oh my god, what a move under pressure, turning a disaster into a game-winning maneuver as he finishes up the flirt. All SykoSloth has to do now is be confident enough to finish missions.
Yep, and will they be, though? Because right now you're thinking, well, if I'm not dead, I should be low-lit, but maybe I'm just top suspect and the second something else happens, I'm gone. But you have to assume it worked, because if it didn't, you're probably not going to finish anyway.
Minute and 20 seconds, 1 mission completion. The shot comes off. Rook is feeling a little bit too antsy. SykoSloth answers back. It's 4-all.
How you react to the coughs says a lot about you as a sniper, but even the best in the game sometimes can get tilted and annoyed and take a difficult shot. When they don't catch the cougher, it can be so frustrating. In this case, SykoSloth's path sort of ensured that the fist, the hand up to the mouth that happens with the cough, was covered by the ambassador, so they're rolling away already. But yeah, I think the idea was, hey, no, I'm walking away from statues, therefore, I was at statues when it happened.
I think so.
Wow.
And it was a brilliant little maneuver that turned around the game for SykoSloth.
Yep, that's some high-level stuff from these challengers.
Absolutely. You can tell they're still a little bit shaky on the sniper side, but the spy play has been absolutely on point. Let's see if Rooks can keep the train going from the spy side of ball. 3, 2, 1, playing it.
Right before that cough happened, I was noting that things like statue pickup times have been way too quick. A lot of little micro things are standing out. Oh boy, look at that. Takes a book and runs. And there's no way this is going back in green, given how fast that was.
No, not at all. Green book in hand from Rooks in the opening seconds of the game. Might go for a bug here. Definitely got the path for it, but didn't right-click.
Well, so the theory of this game is, I think I got away with that green book, and if you did, you're going to dump it in blue, and then you don't need another hardtail potentially. So I can understand them not wanting to rush that decision.
Why take that path then?
Yeah, I don't know.
Looks like he's heading, wow, right through a conversation trying to get to do the seduction target in time. Does not make it. She wasn't an empty conversation, which means she's probably... Rook, stop being rude to these people!
I think the thing about the path, I think this might be another new player thing a little bit. When you put yourself in the sniper's shoes, as all good and experienced spies do, you think, how does this look to the sniper? Which means you will sometimes avoid pathing by the AMBA, whether you plan on bugging or not. But a newer spy, I think, is a little more likely to think, I didn't do anything, so why would I be suspicious? I didn't bug, so they can't shoot me for bug. And you and I know, oh boy, they absolutely can. So you don't want to give the sniper an excuse to shoot you even, because you know what it looks like on the other side. It's something that I think probably is a little more pronounced with experience.
34% off the flirt in the second attempted conversation. Now stepping into blue bookcase to put this book away. Minute and 50 seconds left as the first mission completion comes through.
Yeah, and that took a long time to get there, but we did get one flirt in the meantime, and it is the hardtail. So you go out, you bang out a flirt.
There's the bug! Wrong arm as he slips through the middle of the conversation. Tapped has now walked right through the middle of that particular conversation 3 times this game. But man, oh man, that bug was pretty.
Taft acting like he's the actual president based after his namesake and can just do whatever he wants, really. And also kind of acting like the proverbial 800-pound gorilla.
And it's working, too.
And it's working. It's working. Do you want to tell Taft he can't do that? I don't. Oh, these paths are a little rough on both sides. We're definitely seeing circuitous paths. As a reminder to anyone watching, any new Challenger players, AIs are efficient, like computers normally are. They tend to take the shortest possible path they can. They don't tend to take wide turns and then hook back and double back and things like that, unless someone blocks their path, or they bump into them, or if the briefcase is involved, in which case all bets are off. But paths like that, where you sort of go past the statue and then come back, that will generally not happen. And we're gonna stop me if you've heard this, but we're at the point now where we need a green flirt near the end to try to finish this out. But it would be a...
Can you guys hear me? Hello? Looks like we have a little voicemail function there. But right there, it's the Civ shot.
Can't crash bug and you can't swap. They were betting that whole game on green.
I think I disconnected for a bit.
Yeah, I think everyone
you're
did.
Welcome, welcome back. That was crazy. They bet that game on green. It didn't end up mattering, and they didn't get a chance to do it. But they were going to try to green flirt with about a second left, as it looked like.
I know. I was losing my mind.
I'm sorry. I'm
sorry you couldn't hear me losing my mind.
I'm sorry I couldn't hear it too. It's pretty much the whole reason I do this.
Oh man.
Oh well, don't worry, I got you covered, buddy. But hasn't that been the story of so many of these games with these spies needing a green flirt late in the game to win, and then it turns out it doesn't matter, or they don't get a chance to try.
Yeah, but like that positioning, even if he did hit the green, it wasn't going to happen.
Oh goodness, yeah, we're seeing some rough edges around this spy play for sure, but they're hitting the big moments beautifully. Running away with that book early on, doing that bug there. The big stuff they're doing really well. It's just the little detail-oriented stuff. Sweat the small stuff, basically, as they say. That's been the difference right now between, the really high-level spy play and what we're seeing tonight, which has still been pretty darn good.
Yeah, I've actually played both players. SykoSloth does have a tendency to pick everything up extremely quickly. So let's see if Rooks can catch on to that. Starting off with Oprah. Want to count us in?
Yeah, let's see how many things he picks up too fast in 3, 2, 1, playing it.
Yeah, maybe when he said picks things up, I hope he didn't mean statues immediately. But yeah, that's the way it is with a lot of these players pick stuff up quick, and there are just a million little rules. It's easy to forget that things we take for granted like that. Rules about where you can walk in the CC, how quickly you leave, how quickly you pick up statues. For most of us, that's second nature after a while. But for new players, it's just another thing to remember.
Long distance first flirt gets us 25%. Not the number you want to see. But doesn't hang around for too long. That was weird.
Yep, that was unfortunate. And are we going to get an obscured highlight here? Did Rooks see? I don't know. It's funny. We say in so many other games that snipers will credit flirt at higher levels. And what we're really seeing, anything in the bottom few divisions, you absolutely can't. We've seen so many of these games where flirt is not done at the end.
Fingerprintable center statue. SykoSloth can't pass that up. Steps in. Doesn't fingerprint.
Well, we did have to get all 3 inspects done, so there might have been a bit of a risk there. I'm not sure, but...
It's instantaneous. You just have to right-click.
Well, there's an extra second there for the fingerprint. Oh, yeah. It only matters if you're right on the margin, though, of that third cycle, for sure.
Well, SykoSloth takes the highlight, takes the inspects, leaves the fingerprint on the table, which could very easily come back to bite him later on.
Yeah, especially if you're suspicious for going to a center fingerprintable statue anyway, and you get that heat without that fingerprint to balance it.
Minute and 45 to play. Still no second flirt. Now it looks like we're gonna go get it. It's a white test. It's 57%. So many times this evening we've seen flirt in the high 50s.
Yep. Yeah, this is the 3rd or 4th time at least already. And what we're really seeing is that in Challenger, flirt is a thing unto itself. It's a much bigger part of the game than a lot of the matches we've cast so far this season.
Here comes the bug. It's wrong arm, but we didn't want wrong arm. Still looks like it came in under the table. A very bold little bug coming across the front there. Rooks did not see it, near as I can tell. Going in now for hopefully the last flirt. Can he hit the green? He can indeed. The 3 flirt comes off. 1 more mission is needed, and the double agent is contactable.
Yeah, and now we are in that position where we just say you're either top suspect about to die the second you do something, or you've got this in the bag. It's one or the other. And SykoSloth says, I'm just going to do a silent game.
Nowhere. It was completely visible for a little while there. Now it's visible again. It's not being watched. And SykoSloth somehow manages to slip that game under the radar.
What are these spies drinking? Good Lord. That was crazy. On the spy. Depends on the spy. Sipping, gulping, maybe. Geez. I mean, silent games. They're powerful, man. They're really powerful. Even early on, even relatively early in your spy party career, you learn to wait for that prompt before taking a shot. And in this case, it seems counterintuitive. I think the banana bread works anyway, but the timing is just so good.
Man, this has been madness this whole set long, and now it comes down to even more of it, because suddenly there's a shark in the mix. As we step into Aquarium, Rooks is going to open things on the spy side of the last 2 games of the match in 3, 2, 1, playing it.
And as Ponoob said, every game's a point. And, Aquarium is making me realize what I was having trouble putting into words earlier, which is these spies are playing like there's a shark on every venue.
Yeah,
they're just going for it, man.
Bottom shark to open the game.
Yep, for our challenger friends, shark starts bottom left or top right and follows a set, predictable schedule, which means, based on which one it starts at, you know where it's going to end as the game goes on if you don't time it.
Oh, a nice little wrong arm bug attempt coming around the back in the conversation. Unfortunately did not take. First flirt as well is only 23%.
Yeah, it's been a rough night for flirts, but a great night for spies anyway. Oh boy, oh
That is not how you do that, bug. I'm scared, Rooks.
I
Might
mean-
have been clean, though.
boy. I mean, they ran over the ambassador's foot, basically.
Yeah. That was, it looks like that might have been clean action. That's just a direct purloin as well.
This is what I'm talking about. So, as bold as
That's
they were
not
without
a
the
pad!
shirt, that's not a pad. That's not a pad. Look, the hitbox, Wheels' hitbox, it gets the best of us.
It looks okay.
So, okay, so let me amend my earlier statement. The spies play non-aquarium maps like they're on aquarium, and they play aquarium like they're on cocaine, is basically what it is.
Oh, nice little move. Shifts in the conversation behind the cover of the shark. Picks up a second flirt to 40%.
Twitches onto the pad. Look, guys, I don't know what you're talking about. Hard tells are easy. It's seduce that's hard.
Oh my god, what is happening in this set? Stepping away. I thought we were going to go to briefcase for a second, and I was going to be very upset about it, but no, it's just the windows.
No, briefcase might be subtle, and these spies, they don't do subtle, man.
But it was right next to the Amber, though, is the thing.
Does that matter? I don't know if that matters. Maybe.
All right, well, in conversation with the double agent now. Minute and 35 to play. 2 mission completions, both
Banana bread.
hardtails. There's the contact coming off for the third. The shot comes off. Advantage to Rooks.
Yep, it's hits an ankle right next to his. Can hear that bullet whizzing by, I think. Just kind of goes ham the whole game, and it works.
My God.
Yep, and yes.
Track, what is
Yeah.
happening?
New spies are scary and crazy, but brave, and I love it.
And now it's SykoSloth playing for a draw from the spy side of Aquarium as Rooks shoulders the rifle in 3, 2, 1, playing it.
And the spy side is actually the side you want to be at so far in SCL. Spies on Aquarium, 56%.
Oh boy! Here we go. 34% on the flirt opening at the bar. Picking up a demand for absolutely no reason.
You got places to be.
Yeah,
Why not?
We're next
Yeah.
in line. Okay.
Yeah, well, then there's no downside. There we go. I mean, why not? If demanding is free, I'd feel good clicking that button. Yeah, give me that drink. Don't you dare give it to, I don't know, that ghost next to me.
Second flirt comes off, 66%. We're finally in 3 flirt range if we tuck in close on the last one. SykoSloth going to briefcase now, moving pretty quickly.
I mean, are you surprised at this point? I'd be surprised if they
You've
idled.
been getting slow starts.
From a sloth, no.
Now we have 66% and a fingerprint with just under 3 minutes to play. This is looking good.
Yeah, plenty of time on Aquarium. You can get things done quickly, but you actually don't have to.
SykoSloth heading into green bookcase now. Wants the second fingerprint. Gets low lit.
Ooh. I guess that's what happened when you walk a drink around and don't do anything with it. But
He
you're
just took a briefcase from green bookcase and then went to green bookcase.
yeah, and he fingered finished the fingerprint too. I'm a little now. We mentioned earlier, wasn't it Rooks who was taking all those lowlights on gallery too? All those behavioral lowlights. It didn't hurt them then, but it could burn them now, cost them the win potentially if Syko can finish missions.
And now SykoSloth, that's all he needs to do. He doesn't know it, but he's basically in the clear now. Here's the delegate coming off, under 2 minutes to play. That's still plenty of time.
Well, we still need to finish that flirt, and that's been a problem all night. Just because it's not a hardtail doesn't mean it's not hard.
That is not where you flirt from, SykoSloth. You have 66%. Get in there.
Also, you're low lit, but you probably could not guess that because you really didn't do a whole lot to get low lit.
91 after a green test. It hurts me, SykoSloth. Why do you do this?
They're really worried about the flirts. I think they're just really worried about getting flirt paired, but we know that's not really a concern right now. The concern is the clock.
This is true. Ambassador runs away from a possible bug.
The ambassador's like, I've seen your previous games. I know what this is going to look like. You're going to run over my foot or something.
Time ad as the purloin comes off, plus 45 seconds. That might clinch it then and there.
It's hard to imagine Rooks is going to be able to hold this shot because as far as they're concerned, that purloin came from nowhere.
Absolutely. Minute and 30 left to play. The shot comes off. It's 6-6 is the scoreline, and that's where it's gonna end.
Yeah, a fitting end, too. It would have felt wrong for either one of these players to win outright because some of the moves were so audacious and exciting. Like I said, a little rough around the edges, our challengers, but they're learning awfully fast, and some of those bugs were really, really good.
There were some very, very nice bugs, and also some incredibly nice almost bugs.
Yeah, if they clean their games up, they're going to be good in a hurry, and they will. I have no doubt about it. You can see, like I said, those rough edges, but some of these players have really not been playing that long and are already getting a good grasp of the high-level strategy, especially if they can get that flirt done a little bit quicker.